In our third video, Robert Fiducia from Declan Ware Productions shares his experiences and recommendations on the best ways to prepare, be present, and live out the World Youth Day experience as a pilgrim. His practical tips help us all to be a good steward of the moment and make sure our World Youth Day experience comes down from the mountaintop with us.
I was educated at a Benedictine college, and the joke at the college was, if you join the monastery, you see the world. And I think the same thing can be said about being a minister in the church or just being affiliated with the Catholic Church. You will get many opportunities to travel all over the world. One of these examples of being able to travel all over the world is with World Youth Day. There's my Australian visa. So this is my Pilgrim's Guide from when I was in Rio, from when I was in Madrid. There's the Brazilian visa. Here's where I entered into Madrid. Here's my visa from when I went to Ghana with Catholic Relief Services. It was during that trip to Ghana that while I was praying about and just reflecting on all the great experiences that I had, that this is what came to me. Was I going to be someone to hoard experiences such as that, or was I going to be a good steward of the experiences? To begin to talk about stewardship, I wanted to come here to my home church in Brentwood, Tennessee. This is Holy Family. Every Sunday I come here for an experience that I have to be a good steward of. But in order to be a good steward of what happens in here, the first thing that I need to do is I need to prepare. The Catholic Church is a sacramental church. We have moments where we encounter the living God in a physical way. Every one of these events require us to prepare for them. In the same way, we need to prepare for the experience of World Youth Day. And that's whether we're going to Krakow or if we're staying here. One way that we can prepare for World Youth Day that's being hosted in Poland is to learn about the spiritual history and heritage of Poland and to discover the way that it has impacted the universal church. I'll give you an example. A friend of mine met someone from Poland and said, "Is Poland so Catholic because of John Paul II?" And they responded, "No, we had Pope John Paul II because Poland is so Catholic." Well, let's discover the ways that the Polish Church has impacted the Universal Church with things such as the Divine Mercy Chaplain. Do that kind of discovery. The second way we can prepare is a very important one because our expectations can prevent us from living in the moment and experiencing what God has for us in that moment. I invite you to write down every expectation. Perhaps you have an expectation to walk up to the Pope and shake his hand, or even to meet pilgrims from around the world. Lose all those expectations, write them down, and then say goodbye to them. And say, can I enter into this if none of these expectations are met? Would it still be a good experience and a good pilgrimage for me? It's important that we say goodbye to those so that we can enter into what God has for us there. The third way that you can prepare is to take on the mindset of a pilgrim rather than that of a tourist. A tourist remains aloof and removed from the experience and from the culture that they're visiting. They go in, they see the sights, they get back on a tour bus and they go. But a pilgrim knows that in every moment God is present and God is speaking. Every moment is a metaphor for the Christian life. Take on the mindset of a pilgrim, which is also the mindset of a poet, which is seeing God everywhere, even in the hardships, and perhaps most especially in the hardships. There is a lesson at every moment. If flights are delayed, if you're hungry, if you're lost, all of these moments are metaphors for life and for the Christian manner of living in the world. Take on that kind of a mindset. Enter in as a pilgrim, not a tourist. For those of us who are going over to Poland, you're going to experience wonderful hospitality. One way that we can receive that hospitality graciously is to learn how to say please, thank you, and hello in that native language. It shows that we're gracious and appreciative of what they're giving to us. One way of being a good steward of any experience is to be fully present to the experience. Every Sunday here at this altar and altars throughout the world, ordinary bread and wine become the living body and blood of Christ. But we hear babies crying. We feel uncomfortable in our pews. We think about everything that needs to happen when we get home. Or the priest is being rather monotone as he's praying, and we just zone out and go away. That's not being a good steward to the moment. In the same way with World Youth Day, there are going to be things that are going to distract you. Either your sleeping bag is going to have a hole in it, or somebody else in your group is just annoying. All these things can distract you and keep you away from the experience. And just as at Mass, recognize what's happening and then focus back on what is at hand. This is one of my favorite places in any church. It's called the ambry. This is where the sacred oils are kept. And I remember when I was confirmed as a teenager, and when the chrism was spread on my forehead, the smell of the balsam, the fragrance in the chrism, I wanted that to stay on my forehead forever. That desire reminded me of Peter, James, and John. They went up to the Mount of Transfiguration with the Lord. And when that wonderful experience happened of where the Lord revealed His glory, Peter said, "Lord, it is so good for us to be here." He wanted to stay in that moment forever. I know I have felt like that by being on retreats or at other World Youth Days. I needed to go to pray through what I experienced, then to share the words of the Holy Father and to share that with others. We have a great theology about sacred spaces. We leave our time and we enter into God's time. At the doors, this is where things get real. When we step off the plane, what happens then? There are 1.2 billion Catholics in the world. Every baptized person is to become a missionary. That's the vision of Pope Francis. And it begins just on the other side of that door.